are two BMW M3s. They're made by two different brands. The one on the left is a top speed 1/18 scale BMW M3. The one on the right is a Minichamps 1/18 scale BMW M3 as well. As you can see from the front, the vehicles do look quite similar. However, there are some differences that you can see from the front here. The one on the right, the Minichamps, has a lighter gray roof, and the top is actually lined with a black line on each side of the gray. It's less dark than the one on the top speed. The rim around the windshield actually looks quite different too. The one on the Minichamps on the right is much more thick of a border around the windshield, and the place that goes around the mirror is much deeper, and the one on the left on the top speed, it's just kind of this more distinct blob of black that comes down. The grills look very much the same. The BMW logo on the top speed looks a little bit more crisp and clear, and maybe a little bit bigger. The M3 badge on the left or the right of each of the grills is also more distinct on the top speed. The grill itself looks about the same on both. The top speed one doesn't have those that circle to the left, whereas the Minichamps has that circle. I don't know if that's a circle they leave as an option for a race hook for a tow cable. As far as the headlights go, the top speed one is very clear. It doesn't have that little attachment piece on the inside. They're both dual headlights for each headlight. They have that similar look, although the Minichamps has this cool blue inset that really makes it stand out and make it look like it's more staring at you, and it's got eyes, and I really like that. Other than that, all the air intakes, they do look darker on the Minichamps. The top speed one looks a little bit more grayish on the intakes on the bottom. The splitter, it's kind of hidden underneath and wraps around. I just love that look on this BMW. How the whole front bumper looks like it's so contoured and curvaceous and just folds in and of itself. But again, I just really like the Minichamps for especially the headlights. I also love the indents on the hood. Those look great too. Also, you'll notice a bit of a difference. Maybe it's not as visible in the video, but the one on the left, the top speed one, is a much darker metallic green, and so that's another thing that stands out as well. As far as the side profile, one of the first things you notice is that the rims are different. The one on the Minichamps, which is in closer view here, is a much more delicate kind of pattern. They both do have the kind of silver rotors that are perforated or cross-drilled, I guess they call it, and then also a red caliper with the BMW logo on it, and then the BMW logo in the center of the wheel. The one on top speed, the one behind, the wheels are much fatter and they don't have that pattern around the outside edge. So I do find it doesn't have as good a look for the tires, but the Minichamps, I really like how they have done both the rim, but also the tire is a more thin, slimline tire around the rim, and it's got a better look and more clearance. But also, it's got that look of tread on the outside, coming down a little bit around the corner, so you can see that tread, and that just makes it pop. The mirrors look quite similar. The M3 badge on the Minichamps is actually much more distinct. So I find it interesting that the top speed branding on the front was much more distinctive of the BMW logo and the M3 on the grille. But on the side here, the top speed one is actually much darker in terms of that indent, that black indent with the M3 emblem, whereas the Minichamps is much brighter. Favorite things about these M3s are that bottom panel and how it rises up when it comes to that back door, and it's just a beautiful line, so aggressive and muscular looking, and just how the body kind of bows out around the tires to make it look more muscular as well, kind of like a hub. But as you can see here, again, the back is much more thick on the tires, are on much more thick on the top speed. And again, you can see the treads on the Minichamps one that look really good, and the rims as well. Both of them are amazing. They've done amazing jobs. One thing you'll notice as well is the Minichamps one, the rims, the black rim or trim around the windows is much more of a kind of like a matte finish comparatively to the really black and glossy black of the top speed. So I do find that the top speed one, maybe it gives more definition, but it's not quite as maybe blending with the vehicle and kind of maybe too glossy. Another thing I noticed too is that the Minichamps windows are much more tinted and almost like opaque. You can't see through them as well. Whereas the top speed one, the side windows are very clear. You can see right into the vehicle. You can see all the details of the handles, the seat belts in the back. Yeah, so a much better view into the vehicle. Here we have the view of the back or rear of the BMW M3. And in this particular case, I actually like the top speed a lot more. What you'll notice is it actually has those defrost lines in the back window, which is a nice touch. Very detailed and good looking. Also, the BMW logo is much more distinct. The nice added touch of the BMW M3 license plate as well. And that really kind of, I don't know, it just seems to set off the back end a little bit more than just the no name plate on the Minichamps BMW M3. What you'll also notice too is that the Minichamps has those little pocket marks. I don't know what they're really called, but I guess they're access points where you can take the little plugs out and then take maybe a bolt or a screw out. So you can see those all throughout the vehicle. Whereas Top Speed did not focus on that at all, but they did focus on a little rectangle piece just above the right tailpipe, or tailpipes I should say. The dual exhaust on both sides. And also the dual exhaust on the Top Speed on the right is actually gray or kind of chrome silvery on color, and that's a nice standout as well. I would say though that I do like the taillights on the Minichamps a little bit better. It seems a little bit more distinct with that upper shiny reflection line within the taillight. I guess that's highlighting the brake lights, whereas on the Top Speed one on the right, it just kind of all looks like one clear plastic part on the topper part of the taillight. But both of them are a great job of the taillights. What you'll notice as well is that the Minichamps on the left has those vertical red lights that are inset in the outside of the bumper. And so it's very definitive red, whereas on the Top Speed, it's more darker red and more inset. So it's almost like there's like a inset depression that the light is fitted in, but it's also darker. And I kind of find that's a better deal. So yeah, it's too bad you can't find a car with all the things you like, but that's the difference of the artisans and the manufacturers who's making the vehicle, and maybe what exact model they're looking at as well, but also their own interpretive design. What you notice as well is the car on the left, the Minichamps, has much slimmer wheels, especially on the back, but they do look black, whereas the Top Speed one, you notice the treads actually look quite light, kind of like they've been going on gravel or something, or crushed gravel that's kind of gray. Here's a full side angle of the Top Speed BMW M3. Again, the major differences being the rims and the shape of them, and also the tire is much thicker, so it's not a low profile tire as much as the Minichamps. I do find I like the Minichamps a little.